It's Nolan. Now, before we get started, make sure y'all hitting that like button. Make sure y'all sharing it on your respective platforms. Let somebody know what we're doing today. Now, let's get into the show. Lifelong dreams being elevated. Leave a nigga face down like he meditating. Growing up, trepidation in my locale. Hearing 40 cal, know somebody need resuscitation. I describe myself, nothing define me. Paper cut sharp, origami. Business in the iPhone, biting the apple like Shinigami. Death notes, every bar's like a homie. I'm the Clyde with a Bonnie. Rhythmalism, I'm too quick. New scripts, I'm producing them daily like news clips. Roof prints, give me all of the beef, I'm a sous chef. Homies had them 8 balls for the grin like a pool stick. I learn my ingredients as I get older, more lenient. We use bitch niggas to be convenient. Need more cash, that's immediate, expedient. My experience teaching what I couldn't get from PBS. Freedom of the finance, read a pie graph, I take my pride back. Flip the color like a Mike Jack, niggas ain't like that. Take a name like it's Iraq, you diss me? Might stab a nigga with a wine glass, it's risky. Might crash, don't invite me to the function. I smash niggas pumpkins, all together conjunction. Southside nigga cooking up like it's a luncheon. We don't need a studio to get you niggas punched in. What's going on, beautiful people? It's the kid J Nolan here. Welcome back to another episode of Inside the Industry, your number one source for music, entertainment, commentary, and breakdowns. Hope everybody's doing well out there. In this video, we're going to be getting into J Malone and his new interview that he did on The Bigger Picture. Of course, that's with Elliott Wilson, Jeremy Hecht, and DJ Head, okay? Now, in this interview, he talks about Kendrick Lamar giving him the heads up way back in the early aughts of his career, letting him know that Drake had Ghostwriters back in the G. All right. So they're estimating that, or guesstimating, I should say, that this conversation between J Malone and Kendrick happened back in 2011. Okay. And if we're going off that timeline, then that would mean that's around the time that Take Care was being made. That's also around the time that Kendrick was releasing Section 80, which is literally around the time that Kendrick and Drake linked up for the first time, because if I'm not mistaken, Kendrick let Drake hear Section 80 before it actually dropped. And Drake was actually very excited about it, gave him, some encouragement and some tips about, what to expect coming into the industry. Of course, they also linked up in Toronto to make the Buried Alive record on Take Care. And all of that influenced what came to be with the Club Paradise tour with Drake, Kendrick, A$AP Rocky, that whole thing, right? So J Malone is now filling in some blanks about when it is that he heard about Drake having ghostwriters, how he responded to it, how Kendrick initially responded to it, what the mindset was for everybody that, was coming into this information. So let me go ahead and pull this up. All right, so we got this post here. It says, Glasses Malone tells Elliott Wilson and DJ Head that Kendrick Lamar personally told him about Drake's ghostwriting allegations back in 2011. This is about 4.5 minute video. Let's get into this conversation.
Of when people actually knew Drake had any writers. We kind of didn't say it for sure last time, but at that time, were there rumblings that you knew of within the Cash Money crew that you knew he had people working with him, or it wasn't till later that you had heard those rumors?
The first person that brought it to my attention, and I don't know if this right to snitch on him, is Dot. Dot is the first person that brought it to my attention. But I'll be honest, when he first came...
Look like DJ Head is confirming it too in the corner over there. You can't really see him all that clearly, but he put a big ass validated smile on his face. That's interesting.
It was always, we knew it was a pop approach from a pop artist. He was introduced kind of as this Nickelodeon kind of kid to the people at the label. And, talking to him, he was a well-mannered dude. But when they pressed play, you could just tell he was like a savant when it came to making records. Like, it was just nice. Yeah. So
I'm going to pause this right here because I want to, revisit some things real quick. And I know y'all are savvy. Y'all keep up with all this stuff. A lot of y'all have made reference to this. But remember, Lil Wayne in the beginning, when signing Drake, number one, Lil Wayne wasn't interested in signing Drake. He didn't like his sound. He didn't like his you know, he didn't like him. He was doing rap and R&B, and for whatever reason, it wasn't appealing to him. Maybe it wasn't gangster enough, right? But eventually, they ended up, playing some music for Wayne that piqued his interest. He asked who it was, and Jazz Prince said, yo, that's the same guy I've been telling you about for a minute. That's Drake, the guy from Canada, right? So by the time that Wayne is actually interested in bringing Drake into the fold, remember, he told homie, keep it Canadian. Don't get outside of yourself. Don't try to be like me. Do you. Which I think is very key in this piece where Glasses Malone is saying he was presented to the Cash Money label as this Nickelodeon star, coming off of Degrassi. He was doing, rap R&B. He had songs with Trey Songz or what have you, So he was coming off of that type of wavelength. He had hip hop records. I would be a liar to say that Drake didn't have mixtape joints that were hip hop joints prior to getting with Wayne. But the stuff that was actually working for him, the stuff that they were, pushing, and the stuff that really was catching attention for Drake was the Replacement Girl stuff. And we all know what that was. All right. So just taking people down, that timeline.
Now that I understand what's happening, like that would make sense. You know what I mean? Especially a lot earlier than we think. You know what I mean?
Was
like,
that 2011?
Yeah, I'm thinking it's around then, but I don't think we would have had rumbles about it because we kind of always knew that he was a pop artist.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, not like he's a rapper, but he was a pop artist. His approach was an assembly line of how he made music that fit. Like, and he had a bunch of, he had a great team. 40 was fantastic. Boy, he won the T-minus. Them dudes were like fantastic. He walked in with this team. Like, he had a plan and he executed and his plan worked.
But you knew that. Do you think Kendrick, when he said that to you, was he disappointed? Like, because basically, I've been studying this whole. Like, was Kendrick disappointed?
Oh, hell yeah, I called the nigga a liar.
Mm-hmm. That's true. That's a fact.
I didn't quite understand what pop meant, like what pop was. Like,
all right, so G Malone, he says Kendrick came to him, let him know, hey man, motherfucking Santa Claus is handing out cold. Not even the motherfucker fake. He handing out fucking cold. So he says, hey man, the nigga got ghostwriters. G Malone says, nigga, you's a fucking liar. Don't come to me with this bullshit. Man, he out here making shit happen. He got shit popping. He got shit rocking. Remember, shortly after homeboy got with Young Money, it didn't take that long until that tape dropped. What was the fucking mixtape, man? So Far Gone. So Far Gone came, and that shit was like a fucking, man, it created waves. Like them, love them, hate them. Based on the timeline when that dropped, what was that, 09? That shit was a fucking storm, especially as a nigga in Atlanta. I remember motherfuckers going to Tabernacle and shit like that, going to see this nigga. I wasn't there, but I remember seeing footage and it was filled with black women that knew every word. Like, it was a fucking movement. And I remember telling my homeboy probably 6-7 months prior to that project dropping, I'm like, yeah, this dude Drake can rap, but he ain't nothing special. He sound like, he all right. And at the time, I was a little bit more invested in seeing where, I didn't even know about Cole yet. I remember my homeboy told me about Drake. I was listening to Wale when I first found out about Drake. You know what I mean? And then I got hip to Cole, and then later on, 2009, 2010-ish, I got introduced to Kendrick. So Kendrick came to the people, or came to the homies, 2011 allegedly, and said, man, this nigga getting help out this bitch, man. I can't believe my fucking eyes. And G Malone says, well, nigga, I can't fucking believe you. All right?
Now I'm like, God damn it. You know what I mean? It make perfect sense. But when he first said that, I was like, hell no, man. I'm watching this dude do his thing. Like, you know, at that time, I'm still just kind of looking at him like somebody else at the label. You know what I mean? Like, shit, Tiger writing his own shit, Nick writing her own shit. Like, I'm thinking Cuz doing the same. And when Dot said it, remember, then I heard King Kunta. So I'm like, this is about Cuz. So when it came, you know what I'm saying? When it came out publicly, like when Meek kind of leaked it.
All right, so remember, King Kunta is a few years later, right? So Kendrick gave him the heads up. G Malone wasn't open to hearing it. He didn't believe it. And it sounds to me, and this is pretty consistent with his story, that he was not like closely dialed into, you know, the specifics of hip hop at the time. He was an artist himself. He was trying to get in where he fit in. You know, he was working his move, and he was still, you know, 1 foot in the street, 1 foot in the game of music, right? So at the time, he wasn't like locked in business wise. He wasn't looking at the assembly line. He wasn't looking at, you know, the dynamics of what makes a great song or publishing and all of this other business stuff that goes into it. He was just trying to work his move and support the homies. You know, he said he wasn't even heavily listening to Kendrick. He would listen to the albums and go about his business, right? It was just his boy that had made it. So he's saying it wasn't really until King Kunta came out when Kendrick had put the line in there, Rapper with a Ghostwriter, what the fuck happened, that he's like, oh shit, he's really bringing it to the square. And then of course, shortly thereafter, Meek Mill comes out and tells the world, yo, this nigga ain't writing everything. And then we get that whole situation.
And then I start asking around like all the back channel. I was like, oh, hell. You know what I mean? Which I didn't really take credit from him because, you know, I always kind of thought of him as like a pop artist. Like, you know, that's like being upset that you discover Madonna don't write her own songs.
I thought of it more like Ye. Like I looked at it like,
I think Kendrick was probably upset because he was looking at Drake as his competition, which he said at that time. And he's like, I want to be the best rapper of my generation, which you are right now, because Drake was in that spot. I think he was like, damn.
So I'm out here paving my own way. I'm building my skills. I'm in the studio nonstop. I'm writing my ass off. I'm recording. You know, I'm building my legend. You know, Kendrick comes from literally battling. You know, he gave niggas the lyrics about rap battling in the Nickersons. You know what I'm saying? He gave niggas a trip down memory lane with that. But there's literal footage of him doing this, right? So he's coming through the standard pipeline of like what makes, or what we believed made, a dope hip hop artist. You battle niggas, you write your raps, you go in the studio, you do this, you do that, you become a master of all styles. You could fucking rap like this one, that one, this one, that one, this one, that one, and then you finally put all this shit together on some Five Deadly Venom shit, and you become the motherfucking master of everything, and you just untouchable, right? And then you find out another nigga who's getting the accolades, remember, Drake was, to the industry, they believed he was the best thing since sliced bread. I will never forget the BET Awards when Queen Latifah got on that bitch and was acting like he was the first rapper to meld rapping and singing. And I'm like, why the fuck is Queen Latifah praising this nigga for rapping and singing when she did that shit in goddamn 89? What the hell? You know, but that was the momentum that was around him early on, was like, oh my God, he can rap, he can sing, he could go on a motherfucking box of Wheaties, you know? And I was just like, man, y'all doing a lot for this nigga, man. You know, and that was just me on my hip hop shit. I was just like, y'all doing a lot for this nigga, bro. Like, he could rap, man, but goddamn, nigga can't even fucking sing. Y'all keep saying he could sing, and he probably the worst singer in the industry. Because at that time, the industry wasn't letting motherfuckers who can't sing in. You gotta really go back to 2009 and see who was in the industry at the time. Remember, there's a video of Joe Budden arguing with Ish about whether or not they would choose Beyonce or Rihanna or Rihanna or Keisha Cole. Excuse me. And Joe Budden was like, "Nigga, I'm going with Keisha Cole because Rihanna really can't sing like that in his eyes, right?" And he figured that Keisha Cole, being the stronger singing talent, vocal talent, would have a longer, more storied career than a Rihanna. He didn't expect her to stick around that long. And that's the mindset of a lot of people at that time of going with who is the vocal talent. But people got behind this nigga, you know what I mean? And a lot of people assimilated to what it was that he was bringing in the game, right? So there's that. And then, of course, when G Malone says he looked at it as a Ye type of thing, you also got to look at the fact that Drake was so heavily influenced and inspired by Kanye, among others, such as a Joe Budden, such as a Fonte from Little Brother. I still think Little Brother doesn't get the fucking credit they deserve. I still don't think Fonte gets the credit he deserves. He comes as an afterthought in the Drake story, but he is so much more than that. And you don't even got to go back that fucking far because Little Brother dropped a really solid ass project within the last couple of years. I would really encourage everyone who hasn't heard it to go pick that motherfucker up, go play that shit tonight. May the Lord watch, ain't it? Yeah, play that shit tonight. Let's continue though.
And this is who they're looking at like that when I'm doing all this extra work.
I think that was around the time. Was that around that time when we were on that tour together?
It was right after.
It was right after we came back from that tour.
Right after. But when he told me, I was like, nigga, hell no. I'm like, you know what I mean? But I didn't. Now, in hindsight, it all makes sense. You know what I mean? His approach is very...
And I'm wondering if that was the tour for Section 80 tour. Because Kendrick was doing, you know, his own dates and shit. Separate from even the Tech 9 shit. And then they linked.
Very much like Michael Jackson. He just got multiple Rod Tempertons. You know what I mean? He said it openly a million times, and none of us ever paid attention that this was his approach because we've looked at rap. Rap has been so synonymous with hip hop over, especially Elliot, me, and our lives, bro. So, you know, since fucking Debbie Harry rapped on Rapture, everybody else that's been decent in rapping, you pretty much knew that they were kind of part of hip hop versus now where rapping is being used with all genres. And now their own rules apply, you know, in that genre or in that, you know, that whole collective of how they approach making records. So he's always had this really brilliant approach at how he was going to make records, but he also understood he was taking it all from a pop perspective.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I agree. All right, good looking. I
Thank you, Glasses.
My nigga. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Glasses.
DG.
Well,
Look at you.
All right, so that is Glasses Malone on the bigger picture talking to DJ Head on speakerphone. So let it be known that he's known since about 2011 about Drake ghostwriting. The whole camp knew what it was, but it wasn't until King Kunta kind of set the stage. And of course, we can't talk about King Kunta without first recognizing that, you know, all of that fucking Jodeci freestyle happened where Cole and Drake were salty about their position on the list. Cole wasn't even on the MTV list at all. You get Control, you get Drake on the Nothing Was the Same album and Lucy's leading up into the album where he's taking shots at Kendrick on numerous songs. You know what I mean? If you want to go further back, Kendrick laughing at DMX clowning Drake on the Breakfast Club and you know, it was like the most funniest thing he had ever heard when his homeboy showed it to him. That offended Drake. You know, so there was even enough going on to lead up to King Kunta to where it was like, all right, nigga, we finna, you know, I'm just gonna put this out here. I'm gonna plant the seed. I'm gonna put the little Easter egg out there, but we ain't even gonna go all the way there. But just remember, nigga, just remember what I know. And it's funny, man. You know, sitting from my perspective as somebody who has ghostwritten for quite a few people in my days. I used to be like fervently against that shit. Like the concept of it, I didn't understand it, especially in rap where you're telling your story. The whole prestige of people, you know, saying that you're good at rapping comes from you crafting the raps, like people praising your actual craftsmanship, how you put words together, how you deliver it, your tonality, your everything is supposed to, you know, in our minds come from you, right? Till I started getting paid to write for other niggas, and I said, oh, I get it. But I couldn't imagine a nigga that I wrote for trying to come up in my face and act like he that nigga. Like, oh, nigga, you can't even rap like that. Like, what, nigga? How I can't rap like that? And I've been writing your raps, nigga. What the fuck you mean? You better get the fuck up out of here before I bomb on your ass, nigga. You crazy? You better fulfill that motherfucking invoice that I sent through. Fuck, nigga. Oh, boy. Now, with this information being put out there, I would be remiss if I didn't at least mention, you know, there's been a lot of talk, a lot of circulation going on about the whole poetic justice theory. And, you know, out of respect for Anthony and Brunoni, I haven't talked about it on my channel because I felt like, you know, I have my reservations about that theory. And y'all know, for me, I'm never coming in with malice. But if I don't believe something, I just don't believe it. You know what I mean? And I just personally feel like giving Kendrick credit for that verse would be a stain on his pen. Personally, you know what I mean? Because that verse is ass. I did watch, you know, a good chunk of that video. I do feel like there were some misquotes in the video. You know, you got hit 25 times with a K. That wasn't a diss. He said his cousin got hit 25 times with a K. Make the decision, ride the beat or ride in the hearse. Which was basically a personal part of Kendrick's story where somebody got the ass rocked with shells and he had to make the decision, ride the beat or ride in the hearse, nigga. Like, you either gonna die with your folks out here or you're gonna ride the beat and become a big rapper. That's not oh, we got on a song together and I hit you 25 times with a K. That's not how that works. You know what I'm saying? So I decided not to react to it simply because I just didn't want to I didn't want to shit on homies work and research. You know what I mean? But I know that that's a conversation that's going around. I know a lot of people are reacting to it. And whether or not anybody believes it or not, doesn't matter to me. We all have our own beliefs. We have our own things that we accept as fact or what have you. But I do find it interesting that Kendrick did know about the ghostwriting. I think a lot of people are, you know, curious about whether or not Kendrick partook in the ghostwriting for Drake. But I personally feel like the perfect time for him to have let that out would have been in that week of them battling. He didn't mention it in Euphoria. Could have mentioned it on 616. He could have mentioned it on Meet the Grams. He could have mentioned it on Not Like Us. And he didn't, you know. Now, of course, he did have other diss records in stock that we can't hear, probably will never hear unless somebody does the good Lord's work. And if one day one of those records comes out and that nigga says blatantly on one of them bitches, nigga, don't forget who was moving the pen or something. I'm not going to try to like put together a Kendrick rap bar, you know what I mean? Don't. But something like that, then I'll recant. You know, I'm not too good to say I was wrong. I can say that all the time. All right. But let me know what y'all think of all this down below in the comments. Be sure to like and share this video. If this is your first time seeing me on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, become an insider. And I'm going to catch y'all on the next one. All right. Much love and respect, y'all. Peace.
Yeah.
glory of living righteous is setting in. My street knowledge and education's a perfect blend. Young mogul, independent, I've been setting trends. The first one from my family to be faithfully wed. Fuck niggas and the horses that they riding on. I see this shit from all angles like a polygon. I'll never politic and the drama be piling on. Father and greats unacknowledged like I'm Bobby Bonds. Conversation with my lady about the paper route. 5 sit bank accounts every day I make it count. They down talking my commentary for hating now. Well, I can take it cause I'm bodying your favorite now, please. I can do this shit in my sleep. I been writing for these niggas, y'all read it and weep. I been fighting these niggas if you speak on the street. I'll turn your birthday party into New Year's Eve. Don't let me take it there. We ain't playing fair. This the ATL, Southside nigga moving furniture like Wayfair. Life on hold, no insurance for your healthcare. Lifeline gone, so you wanna be a millionaire? Well, let me tell you about this world I built. The women I dodged, the niggas that I read for filth. The sympathy calls, consulting for the stakes I built.